Welcome back to the Webby and O'Neill channel, and thanks for joining us for another video. We're going to be touching on Ruben Amorim's comments in his press conference on Wednesday. I thought he was really calm, focused, a lot more level-headed than sometimes he is straight after the game, where it's more reactionary, off-the-cuff kind of thing. But then again, who can blame him? Because if you've seen us on the match reaction, we're not exactly calm on some of the results we've been seeing this season. But get involved, have your say, and we'll try and discuss some of your comments throughout today's video. But how did you take his press conference, like overall, yesterday on Wednesday?
Well, I looked at it overall. I had to watch it a couple of times, to be honest with you. But my overall view on what he was talking about regarding the Europa League final is he's not going to take any credit if we win it. He's always talking about, as he is as a coach, what he needs to do. For me, this isn't his team. He's basically saying that, and he's not going to take any credit. And on the other side, very clever because,
well, the thing is,
lose.
Yeah, because one thing, you're going from week to week in the Premier League, some of the comments that he is saying, I'm not totally on board with, keeping on, basically saying about the crap performances, what's going on in the behind the scenes in the club. I mean, you're the manager, we expect results from you, and, the buck stops with you. And
well, he's constantly talking about needing more time to coach these players, and I think what he's saying is, I need more time and I need new players because this isn't my team. I'm not taking any credit for getting to the final. He's talked about previous finals. We've got to lots of finals under different managers, and this squad seems to be able to step it up, but I'm taking no credit whatsoever. I've got work to do, and I want to do it next year, and I want more time with my players. But question came up about, do you want more time? Do you want the Champions League next year? And he's clearly telling us, as a coach, not as a club or anything else like that, he's telling us, I want to be competitive and I want to have time with my players, and not being in the Champions League basically will give him more time. So he's talking as a coach. Some people have seen comments and that saying, we've got to be in the Champions League and everything. What's he talking about and all that? But he's talking as a coach, and it is confusing the way he's sort of like putting his message out there. But overall, he's taking no credit and he's going to take no blame. Listen, the club have put him in the position. They understand the situation, and he clearly understands the situation. That's how I see it. That's my overall view on that press conference.
Yeah, in his press conference straight after the West Ham game, you could possibly take that with some of the comments he said, that, he could end up actually walking out the door at Manchester United if Manchester United aren't brave in the summer transfer window. And he did mention that, the hierarchy at Manchester United could replace him with new people, I think he said. But in this press conference on Wednesday, he said, I'm far from quitting. I have a clear idea of what I want to do, and I understand the problems of the team. What I am saying is that we need to perform, or else they, in brackets, the club hierarchy, will change us, and that's normal. And, he's bang on with that. He's totally right. Results dictate how long a manager stays in a job for.
Yeah, well, he's watching him. He talks about possibility of walking, and it's just sent everyone into a meltdown, and he clarified it. But the thing is, he's having to clarify too many things he's saying in his press conferences lately. So it's getting a little bit monotonous, and I think there's more of his emotion coming out, and he's not too clear and not too focused when he's speaking, especially after a game with his comments and that. So he's clarified it, but at the end of the day, he's gave ammunition to the press and the media, which the press and the media don't need ammunition. But he clarified it, but it's a bit worrying when he is having to backtrack, and he's been, well, let's say he's backtracked a few times now. So that's pressure, though. That is pressure.
You've got to take yourself back a little bit, though, as well. And it was the Everton game at Old Trafford. Was it roughly about the November time, roughly around there? We won 4-0, and I think his comments were along the lines of, there's a storm to come. I'm sure you remember them words out there. And even when we did win a couple of games under Amorim, we did some decent performances, which is a long time ago now, let's face it. He never really got too giddy, he never really got too ahead of himself, because, like you mentioned before in the press conference, what I read out, he understands this team and he understands where he needs to be. And a lot of these players can't perform to the levels what he wants them to do. So
yeah, he's never seemed to get overly carried away. It's like
might be done now and again, though.
Yeah, but we've also been like, yeah, I think we got carried away after the Everton game, to be honest with you.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back and all that. Like, no, but he's not got carried away because he's got a clear idea and he's got a clear vision of what needs to be done. And the summer, it has to be a full clear out, full change and all that. And he knows how hard it's going to be. And like you say, he talks about these problems coming, and we've seen all the problems. We've said it. I've said carnage and chaos is coming. Don't expect this. Don't expect that. And it's next year, and this summer is the priority. So he's been clear on where he sees this club and where it's at. And he did say it in the press conference about the Champions League and everything else, and what is needed to be done in the future. So for me, you know, I want that Champions League. That Europa League trophy. I want it for different reasons. I want to get in the Champions League, and I want the money benefits from it, because that will help Ruben Amorim. But he doesn't see it that way, which is very, you know, I'm not saying refreshing, but it's like underwhelming for the club, to be honest, that a manager isn't like right up there on his toes and that. But he's been very, very clever in what he's saying about this Europa League and what it means to him. Not the club, it's to him and what he has to do.
Compost Smurf, Zach, me, Gary Lilly, Stephen Maguire as well. Thanks for joining us, and others. And Stephen says, I think Ruben Amorim is covering his tracks because he knows United are crap. The whole club should be ashamed, and let's hope they are, mate.
Well, I think what it is, he knows, as you say, the crap, right? A lot of us do know that, but a lot of people aren't taking it, right? That we're crap, we need to do better. Ruben Amorim needs to do better. But he's telling you, there's nothing he can do here. There's nothing he can do. He can't change these players, because if you go back to previous managers, they've not changed under previous managers. They've let them down and all that. You win the FA Cup, like I said the other day, like you win the FA Cup, these players backstabbing the manager. You know, this is the squad. So, crap. Yeah, of course we're crap. But the thing is, he's got to turn it round, and he's got to turn it round next year. But he's also got to get the help, and he's making it clear to everyone what has to happen. And I do believe that the powers that be, the men in suits, have sort of given permission to make it clear to everyone how bad this club is.
When I hear you saying my football club's crap,
I know.
It gives me a smile, gives me a bit of a giggle, but I hear it from anyone else. I get my back up.
Yeah.
My eyebrows start dropping down, and yeah, it's
very rare to say it.
Yeah, but I think we all know what situation Manchester United are in, and yeah, a lot of you still getting involved in the chat. What's going on? Your own opinions as well, please. And Alex92 says, just stop the interviews so we can actually get on with the job in hand on the training pitch. And yeah, the amount of interviews that he's done, I think there was some stats that have come out over the last 48 hours of actually how many interviews he's done, but especially with the ones with Sky Sports, it looks like it's at least 1 or 2 a week what he actually has at the training ground. And
absolutely.
Do you think they're actually getting a few extra quid there, Sir Jim Ratcliffe? They signed up for something where, you know, he's getting a few extra quid, or do you think that's all included in like the TV broadcasting rights and stuff like that? He does way, way more, especially with Sky Sports, than any other manager.
I can't believe the amount of time he's doing in conversations and interviews with the press and all that. And like you say, get on with the job. You're always talking about, I want more time on the playing ground on the training ground with these players to get them right, what he wants them to do. But he just seems to be doing way, way too many. I do believe that the club, I've got a nice commercial contract with Sky and other people for the manager to do press conferences. I've never known anything like it, to be honest with you. And it's off-putting for fans. There's too much, but it's like rinse and repeat, and it's going over the same things. And it's like, there's more like negative press interviews coming, and he's talking about, well, you know, this team, this, and we're sick of hearing it. We just want you to get down and do the job. The job you're moaning about, you haven't got enough time for. So that's got to change as far as I'm concerned next year. How many press conferences are he going to do between now and Wednesday night before the game? I dread to think.
If you go back to his first game away to Ipswich, he mentioned, didn't he, in the interviews after that with Sky, that the interviews, what he's already had, he's looking at limiting them down, and he was going to speak to the people that be inside the club, but it looks like it's ramped itself up, to be honest with you, and it does look like he's had to fall in line though with that. So there must be like some sort of agreement, some contracts going there. We all know Sir Jim Ratcliffe likes a few quid and saving a few quid.
Well, that's the first shock he's got, the demands on this football club by the manager, and I think that has put him sideways, shall I say, for now, and he might change that next year. I think he'll have to change that. I think with the comments he's making in the press conference on Wednesday and what he's done lately, he's always focusing on what he needs to do. Well, what he needs to do is leave the press alone, because really he didn't understand how big this football club and the nature of the press. Well, the press have been constant on United, slagging it down. So he needs to focus more and keep away from that. How much he'll be able to reduce that, I don't know. But it's something going forward he will surely have to look at, because, to be honest with you, the amount of time he spent criticising this football club, and quite rightly so at times, it's getting a bit monotonous now.
Yeah, Maltz from our members club says it's terrifying what's going on at this club. Team players Liverpool and City are linked to. We're going further and further behind, and that is the problem when you're looking at, Manchester City this season, very, very poor considering their recent standards in recent years. The way Liverpool performs, Arsenal, they're going to recruit, they're probably just a striker and a couple of players off actually really maybe challenging again next season. Chelsea, they're having a good season. Newcastle, Aston Villa. I mean, the state that we're in currently with the players, I mean, we've got to just buy 4 or 5 players, top players, just to see the improvement of getting up the league. Never mind challenging them, because they're only going to get stronger. I've seen a player from Leverkusen linked with Liverpool, Frimpong, on the right-hand side. He'd be perfect in this Amorim system as a wing-back as well. I've seen Howson from Bournemouth linked to Real Madrid, 50 million. I mean...
Listen, I say it this way, right? People are only depressing themselves, right, because we're in a poor position, right? And the more and more they concentrate on transfers and players we've got to get in. Now, I go back 6 months, okay, about transfers and everything else. We had no money, okay? Now, I can guarantee that in the last 3 months, not just the press, United outlets, United fans outlets out there, I can guarantee that we've been linked with 50 players, mega money, 70 million, 80 million and all that. But 6 months ago, we had no money. Now, we're not going to finish in the Champions League through the league position. We may qualify, but we're 17th, 16th, 17th, possibly 17th by the end of the season, right? We've got no money. We're having to sell players. Yes, there will be some money, but to be associated with at least 50 players, and I'm telling you, I've stopped looking. I stopped listening, right? We'll see who we get. And Liverpool, you talk about Liverpool, City and all that. We'll see who they get when they get them. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what United fans have got to do. You've got to ignore this transfer speculation until the end of the season, okay? Because every day we're being linked with 2 or 3 players, and it does get depressing. And that's why I'm not depressed, because I don't listen to it until I see something positive, and that positivity will pop up, because only positivity pops up on my timeline.
Yes, I suppose when you look back last summer compared to, summers gone by in recent years, they fairly got the transfer business done pretty quick, considering, the lack of money that was supposedly inside the club to spend on transfers. And for me, you want to see near enough the same again. When that transfer window opens, the first week in there, deals are already near enough done, sewn up with players' contracts, the fees with other clubs. So listen, I'm hoping that actually happens.
We spoke a few weeks ago about it. I'm telling you, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, we have to see bids go in within the first week. And within the first fortnight, we want them players at Manchester United. That's how I see it, and I don't see any reason why not, because the moment Ruben Amorim come in, okay, he's talked about how bad these players are, this squad, this club, everything, right? So Jim Ratcliffe's gone on at the same. So we've got all the people in there, the right people apparently. We do get rid of some of them, right? What's supposed to be number 1. But hey, that's United. It's chaos and carnage in there. But the thing is, you want these players in. If them players aren't in within a fortnight, bids gone in, contract negotiations going on. We're in deep trouble because they've had plenty of time to understand where this club's at. Ruben Amorim's just dismissing this Europa League. He's dismissed it for a while, and now he's concentrating on it. But there's nothing he can change for it. But the change can come in within that first fortnight. With players. And do we expect loads of players? No, 3, 4.
Yeah, with the actual Europa League this season, you know, with the results and us getting to the final, still unbeaten, by the way, in Europe, you can't really start, you know, giving it the big one, so to speak, that, yeah, you know, it's not just down to the players, you know, I'm involved with it, but then not take the responsibility as well in the Premier League with them results. And I know he does then clarify straight after, you know, the press conferences after the game that he meant something else. But I think because he's that reactionary, sometimes he goes overboard straight away and tells the truth, and then maybe has the time to think about it, or someone pulls him in, you know, Mr. Barada, and goes, look, you know, maybe you need to have a think about what you said in that press conference, and let's get it sorted in the next one.
Well, I think it's Barada and Ratcliffe.
I think that knock on the doors every press conference after the game.
Well, I think the knock on the door should be on Barada's door and Ratcliffe's door for the amount of things they've said, which have just been pure PR, absolute rubbish. I just look at this final now.
Final? In a final?
Yeah. I look at the Europa League final and, like, it's the injuries. We're not the only one with injuries. So I think we're going into it on a level playing field here. They're reporting 3, their top players, shall I say, being injured. So Maddison's out, Kulusevski, and I think it's not Frimpong. You'll find out there. I've just got it out of my head. But 3 of their sort of like best players are out. Our players are out. We've got Yoro. I don't think he's going to play. De Ligt's out there. So for me, the injuries, I think they'll give it a level playing field and that. But like Ruben Amorim says, we step it up in the final. We have done under every manager.
Yeah, I think the players are focused there, and let's be honest with ourselves, despite the Premier League performances, if we take ourselves away from that, you know, every professional will want to win a trophy.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, especially when it's a Europa League trophy, a European trophy. So I don't have really any problems that the players won't be focused. You know, we will see the intensity go up at least a couple of notches compared to what we see in the Premier League. I do know people go back to the actual performances and the results against Tottenham this season, but we've got to just put that to one side for me. I do think, though, that Ange Postecoglou, their manager, has been doing the right thing now for at least the last 2-3 weeks, where he's resting at least 6-7 players in the Premier League, so they're fresh though going into that. And for me, I think we could be talking about that, you know, if it doesn't go our way, come that full-time whistle, because let's just hope, you know, the intensity is definitely going to be there in terms of the fitness levels with United.
Well, you talk about fitness levels and like Postecoglou like dropping players and all that. This Chelsea game, that's what worries me. This Chelsea game, what's he going to put out there? Chelsea themselves got no strikers, and that will that go into Ruben Amorim's thinking? Do you know what I mean? How he's going to set the team up, who he's going to play, what's his worries? You know, he's got worries there. He's hoping for players to come back from injury, but I don't see it myself. So he's really got to be careful here. And a lot of United fans sort of like, what's going to happen? We're worried he's going to put out just the kids, this, that, and the other. I haven't got a clue, to be honest with you. Not a clue, because he talks about bringing in the kids a few months ago. He's not really done it, and he's put out strong sides when a lot of people were worried in putting out strong sides, and injuries have occurred. So this game on Friday, I'm really, really worried about it. Am I worried about the result? Not really, because it doesn't mean anything. A lot of people say, no, we've got to win and we've got to do this, got to do that. But no, we've just got to get through it, because really it's the preparation for Wednesday. So half-hearted attempts at this game, maybe, but I think he might look at it in a different way, Ruben, with their no attackers at all.
Yeah, Richard James says Kulusevski is out for Spurs. I did actually see a Twitter post from Tottenham of Kulusevski sat in the hospital bed, but he had a big smile on his face with his thumbs up, and I'm thinking, mate, you're out of a Europa League final. Like, what are you smiling about? Surely you won't be playing in it.
Well, every time
you get in a hospital bed, big smile on his face.
Well, every time you get a picture took, the camera person says, "Smile, please." Yeah. And obviously, you know, you don't feel happy.
It'd be the last thing you want.
Well,
sat in an hospital bed having pictures took, but hey, that's Tottenham's problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, a few people getting involved talking about the Chelsea game as well, and we mentioned a couple of weeks ago, in terms of us doing match previews, there's not a lot for us to actually come on a video unless we was acting and actually be positive about in this Premier League, because we don't want to sit here and try and hoodwink yous. A lot of yous are sensible with your football opinions, and we're just the same as yous out there. So, going on to the Chelsea game, I've not got much to say. You talk about them having a striker out, some games,
all strikers.
Yeah, but some games for us this season, teams can play with just two fullbacks, have no centre halves, and we wouldn't still look like scoring goals. And the cohesion up the pitch,
well, it's
from the midfield to the strikers, it just doesn't seem like it works. So
it's
there's big problems there in the summertime to get some players in, get time on the training ground, and let's try and see some patterns of play next season.
Well, patterns of play for next season are not even in my thought, to be honest with you, because this game here is just like difficult to assess, and I can't really say what's going to happen, what type of setup he's going to do, what formation, anything. I'm just praying. I'm looking forward to it because I want them to get through the game. I want to see like some effort in the game. I certainly don't want United to get beaten. I want them to put some effort in. They've got to go for it. So there is a game to watch here, and it will be very interesting because they've got to win. And to be honest with you, when someone's got to win, you've got to look at it and say, well, they're going to leave gaps, and you've just got to look at United trying to exploit the gaps when they come, because believe you me, they will come, them gaps. So it's going to be interesting, and I can't wait to watch it, to be honest, from that point of view. From a team point of view, what's going to go on, what's Ruben going to say, what the player's going to perform like, it's difficult to say. And like Kieron says, we're not going to hoodwink you with a tactical setup and this player there, this player there. Nah, not on this game, not on a Friday night. And the thing is, these two teams, they're the most drawn games of football in the Premier League between Chelsea and Man United. So there we go. That's my opinion of the game. It's going to be a draw.
Just like to thank you all for joining us today, getting involved with your own opinions in the chat. Continue the conversation in the comment section below and smash a like on today's video to help support the channel. We'll be back straight after the Man United versus Chelsea game with a match reaction, so get that notification on, and hopefully we will see you all there. Enjoy your day, everyone, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.